Take number 30. Woo! Oh man, in previous attempts I probably would have bailed, but I hang on to that one just to have a little fun. This was about 30 takes into tonight's shoot, and I wanted to give you an update. So, what was it, like 8 months ago? I went ahead and set a goal to try and get 5 hops on the back tire, and I just wanted to talk to you about how that's going. So first off, let me just say that getting to 5 hops on the back tire was an incredible workout. This was exhausting. I think most nights I would go out and practice for 10 or 15 minutes. I'd set my little watch and just kind of give it a go, but it developed a lot of confidence in me as it relates to the back tire and learning where that balance point is and clutch, throttle control, rear brake control, all kinds of things that came along with the journey to try and get to the destination. Now, I am not a rider that needs to be able to do back hops. In any event, I am not going to be utilizing this skill, but it's something I want to do anyway. So this is just kind of the conclusion, if you will, of the previous videos. I'll go ahead and put it in a playlist. And one of the things that really helped was I got a lesson. I got pro rider Sam Fastle to help with this content that I put out into a wheelie course. So if you guys have not seen, I've got a how to wheelie A to Z full library with floater turns, hopping on the back wheel, all kinds of good stuff. Front tire accuracy on an obstacle, which is essential for things like double blip and zaps. That course is available for free during the month of March. So make sure you guys pick that up so you can progress in your skills, and you can get that at the link below. But while Sam was filming, he was also coaching me. He was helping me. And to get some pro level insight on what you need to do differently made a big difference. So I started to get more confident. I decided I'm gonna go out and practice this again. And so went to work at it after about 2 months of not bothering to try this skill because I just figured, I didn't get the goal of getting it by the first of the year. But now I can say I've got it. The rear tire is not coming high off the ground. That'll be the next thing I'm working on. But for now, I just want to share with you guys some of my observations. And if you didn't notice, I am on another bike. So as I started filming with Sam for the channel and for this course, Sam's a pro rider for TRS and he's also a dealer. And so we get done and he says, hey, you want to take home my minder bike? I'm not using it. And I'm like, what? He said, yeah, see what you think. So I'm borrowing Sam's bike and I'm seeing what I think, and I'll be honest, TRS is nice. First of all, I'm gonna try and release a full video review later on after I get some more hours on this machine, but it's just smoother. Hands down, it is the smoothest bike I've ridden outside of an EM bike. I love the electric start. That is really nice, and I just think it's got great craftsmanship, build quality. It's also got a 70 Newton millimeter spring. My original Sherco and Scorpa had a 65. That was really light for me. I'm almost 200 pounds. I went up to a 75. I think that was ideal, but this has got a 70, and I think this might be the right spot for me. So just briefly, if you're curious about suspension settings, I went ahead and cranked up the preload on the rear shock about 3 full turns, and I added 1 clicker more of damping on the front fork, and that's it. And the rest of the suspension is stock, and I'm really liking it.
After dorking with my suspension over the last 8 months and getting better at tuning it for my weight and rider preferences, I've learned what I like and am able to get there quickly to get it to perform the way that I want it to.
So just trying to summarize my thoughts as it relates to anyone else who's wanting to pursue back wheel hops. It definitely helped to step away from this for a while. Instead of intentionally practicing hopping on the rear tire, I was working on other wheelie skills, working on that brake control and throttle and clutch. And so coming back to it, I noticed that I had a greater ability because of all the other foundational skills that I had developed. I worked on just doing brake taps in a wheelie, brake tap and continuing on with the wheelie and not even bothering to jump. And that helped me understand that balance point that much more. Staying seated and not extending my legs all the way was also another key. I would say to myself, pop it, don't hop it. And what I meant is you need to pop the clutch and let the bike do the jumping instead of trying to actually physically jump as high. You might notice that especially with other riders like Sam, not necessarily my own legs, but they don't extend them all the way. So they are jumping without fully extending their legs, and I think that does make a difference. You want to stay back in that seated position. I like to say, think of it like sitting in a chair, sit into it. Finally, it does help to have a good understanding of suspension and way that works, so I'm going to go ahead and talk briefly about that now with some pictures.
So without getting too deep into the weeds of suspension, the swing arm can move based upon the preload in the rear shock as well as the spring rate. My previous bike had a 75 Newton millimeter spring here. This TRS has a 70. So the distance between the rear mudguard as well as the back tire is going to change as you compress the bike. So in this second picture here, when I'm pushing down through the pegs and I'm getting things bound up, this swing arm is moving up and the distance here between the tire and the mudguard is starting to get compressed. Then when I am popping the clutch, the whole bike is wanting to go forward because of the clutch pop. In addition to that, that swing arm is actually going to be pushing down. When it pushes down, the gap between the mudguard and the tire goes up. The whole bike is kind of lifting up. Imagine, if you would, a dolphin that was kicking down with their rear fin. That is going to create that lift in the rear tire. And then with this lighter spring rate, I found that it was easier to hop.
And after talking to Stu Preston up at Jack's Cycles, who rebuilds Riger shocks in the United States, if your weight is right on the fence between a heavier and a lighter spring, say between a 70 and a 72.5, if you are wanting to do more of the hopping type maneuvers, he recommended going with a lighter weight spring and cranking up the preload a little bit. And then finally, if you really want this bad enough, you are going to have to pay the price to develop it. It helps to have mini goals along the way. So not just things like I want to get 4 hops today or 5 hops today, but to say I really want to explore the balance point, go too far, and then come back. If you guys are wanting more information on wheelies and hopping on the back tire, make sure you pick up that course that I mentioned. Thanks for watching and joining me on this journey. This has been a ride. I'm not there yet. I know my skills still have a ways to go as it relates to this and many other skills. This is trials progression. I'm getting better and hopefully I can help you do the same. Thanks for watching.